The way I think about it is either I'm ugly, which is why guys don't talk to me, or I'm like too attractive that they're intimidated, which is why they don't talk to me. And I don't think I'm ugly, so I'm gonna go with option number 2.
Damn!
And I've just watched a video from one of my mates that I follow. His name's Devil's Advocate. Go and check his channel out. And on there, it's a crazy statistic. I don't know where it's come from. It was a young woman talking on one of his videos. I think he duetted. And basically what she was saying was she's been looking into some statistics about dating. And she's saying that since the pandemic in 2019, the percentage of men looking for dates and casually dating, looking for a partner, is down by 50%. Now, I'm going to do a little bit more digging to see where these stats are coming from. But in my understanding, I think this is probably true. Men aren't looking to date anymore. They're not really bothered about a girlfriend or a long-term relationship. I'm just wondering what this means for the human race. I mean, imagine if that statistic carries on going the way it is, or the trajectory that it's on. Down 50% since 2019 in 4 years. So imagine in another 4 years, going to have another drop. What do you think, women? Is it getting more difficult to find casual dates or to find a partner? Are you all just online chatting? I've heard that some people are even having relationships with AI bots, chat bots and things like that. I hope it's not true.
It has come to my attention that men do not want to approach women anymore. I don't know when this happened, but this is the reality of the situation. And I also realize that nobody wants to be on dating apps anymore. I think this summer is about to be feral girl summer. Like, I feel like we are finally going to connect with one another, and we are finally going to get off the apps, and we are finally going to flirt with one another. However, we have an issue at hand. Men don't want to approach women at bars. So it's like, how do we start conversation? Luckily, one of my favorite gifts in life is asking weird questions to people. So I started taking myself out to bars. I'm going out with girlfriends and I'm trying to make conversation with guys at bars. And I have one question that I have been asking that is working. My favorite question to ask, I ask this on first dates too. I always ask people, if I could give you a private jet right now that could take you anywhere in the world, where would you go? And this brings up so many good conversations. If a guy says Italy, I'm already imagining our honeymoon there. But seriously, use this one next time you're out. And I just feel like this is about to be an amazing summer, and I am so excited for it.
So, over 60% of Gen Z men are single, and intimacy is at a 30-year low across both genders. So if you look at this graph right here, you see about 30% of US adults are single. But if you go to the men age 18 through 29, that goes to 63%, compared to women in that same age group at 34%. What's going on here? After reading the article, no one fucking knows. They try to personalize it, saying men can choose differently, but ultimately it's a societal issue, as the statistics indicate that. Men can do things differently, but if such a large portion of men are training in a certain way, it's a societal issue. But what do y'all think about this? Do men need to seek relationships at a young age right now, or should they just sit back and focus on themselves? Let me know.
All right, y'all. Here's a question. Why men don't approach women anymore? Glad you asked. Let's get into it, family. Happy Saturday, everybody. Number 1, the fear of rejection. Women today, as we know, have some unrealistic standards. Some women. Unless he has a six-pack, 6-figure, and is 6 feet, you can't talk to him. Number 2, it's not just about the fear of rejection. For some men, it's the fear of being labeled a creep or a predator because the man that's approaching you isn't your type. So because he's interested in you, he a creep? Come on now. Number 3, online dating, which has made it so men don't have to get rejected in person. Number 4, social media. Now you can just run up in somebody's DM. You don't have to have communication skills. I think all this technology and everything has made our communication skills terrible, y'all. Terrible. And last, we've seen how women will reject men in unnecessarily rude ways. It's okay to not be interested, to try to embarrass them. Y'all, we gotta stop.
Samantha definitely expressed all the reasons why dudes are scared of approaching women. Life is just not easy for the woman when she hits a certain age. We're talking about women who've kind of had this high life and then they've stopped getting offers because maybe now she's hit like 38, 40. And then it's almost like they've kind of gone into this dark hole now. It's so toxic, it's like horrible.
Well, here's the thing. Most men don't feel sorry for those women, and I'll tell you why. The reason men don't feel sorry for them is because the experience that she begins to go through when she's older is the experience 90% of men go through every single day. The guy who works at the post office, the guy who helped you pack your bag, the guy who delivered your Amazon parcel, the guy in your class, the guy that you worked with, most guys are invisible. It is only the high value guys that catches women's attention, the guy who's tall, attractive and shaped successful. So when women who have had that taste of the high life, have been that desirable, gotten all the attention, everything, they then get to a point where now they're being treated how most guys are treated. Guys don't feel sorry for them. A lot of guys feel that if you wanted to have a partner, have a family and settle down, you get to that point in life and you haven't done that, it's because you fucked up, because you definitely had an abundance of opportunity to do that. So it's very difficult for a lot of guys to have sympathy, because for a lot of guys it's like, this is how it's been for us since day one, and most of us don't even get to a point where we can attract a girl like you. You've been there, you've had the chance to get those guys, but because you decided to play around, maybe you didn't want it serious, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to accept what comes with the path that you choose.
A lot of you guys think that person is with you because they love you. No, they're just with you because they can't or haven't found the person they actually need to be with, and they're using you as a placeholder until they find your replacement. A lot of people ain't with you because they are in love. They're with you because they're in the other L word, which is lonely. They're lonely or lost, and they don't want to make this journey by themselves until they find Mrs. or Mr. Right. So what they're going to do is they're going to hold on to you. They're going to monkey branch. They keep you in one hand, and with the other hand, they're fishing for the person they actually need to be with. They are place holding with you, and you don't know it. You're the backup plan. And plan A is finding Mrs. or Mrs. Right for them. And yes, should they let you go so you can find the person you're destined to be with? Of course so. But this person is selfish. So of course, they're going to use you as an emotional placeholder. Of course, they're going to use you as a place where they can park their sex organ at night until they find that person they actually care about. They treat you like a weekend Airbnb.
So I've posted a couple videos recently talking about modern women and what their standards are and what modern women are looking for. And I've gotten a lot of comments from men saying that they are not looking for a modern woman. They want a traditional woman, and that there aren't enough of them out there. So that had me thinking, like, well, what is the difference between a modern woman and a traditional woman? I wrote some notes here to distinguish the difference. A modern woman is someone who's independent. She has a full-time career. She prioritizes career and education over family and children. She is strong and wants to be taken seriously. And you'll probably hear her say things like, I don't need no man to support me, and never depend on a man. A traditional woman is someone who focuses on family and children. She cooks and she cleans. She knows how to take care of her man mentally, emotionally, and physically. She's graceful and nurturing, and I'm gonna say it, submissive. So, for all the modern women out there, I hear all the time that they want a traditional man, but it's sounding to me like traditional men don't actually want modern women. And I can't tell you how many times I hear women say they don't cook, they don't clean, but yet they want a man to pay all their bills. So I'm just curious, women, do you consider yourself modern or traditional? And what kind of man are you actually looking for? And for men, what are the qualities that you're looking for in a woman if it's not a modern woman?
Men can also want a modern woman, and they are also okay with their goals and aspirations. But the only problem is when they are hypocrites and expect things, but won't let those same expectations themselves. I also noticed that modern women also aren't as committed to their man. They are more than likely to leave them and practice hypergamy.
Let me break it to you boys. The average 23-year-old girl has slept with more men than the average 53-year-old woman. Let that sink in. We're living in a time, and I know this because I used to be a teacher for many years, and I couldn't believe the sexual promiscuity amongst 14, 13, 12-year-old girls, because here's what they had. They had access to Snapchat. They could send nudes of themselves to older boys or whatever it is from the age of 11, 12. nudes or whatever it is, well, it's technically child pornography, they would start so young. And they're living in an era where there's no negativity attached to sleeping around. It's seen as liberating. So by the time a girl is 23 years old, I promise you she's slept with more men than a 53-year-old woman. Because a 53-year-old woman grew up in a time where she was shamed for sleeping around. There was no sexual liberation. There was a sanctity attached to sexuality. A 22-year-old grew up in a time where Snapchat, twerking, wearing promiscuous clothes, going out, being on social media was all normalized. So if you think that, I'm going to be with a 21-year-old, she's going to have low body count. Guys, what world do you live in? What world do you live in?
I don't get dating nowadays. This is the largest group of butthurt, bitter pen pals I've ever seen in my entire life. It's absurd. Like, you'll establish mutual interest with somebody, exchange numbers, and then you want to good morning me beautiful until my head is ready to explode. Like, I don't know about y'all, but my attention span is not something to play with. You've got 2 or 3 weeks of chit-chatting with me and FaceTiming before I expect you in person. All right? This isn't fucking summer camp. Let's keep in touch. No. I want to feel the weight of a man's I can't say it, it's TikTok, but you guys, you get what I'm saying. Like, we need to establish real life chemistry. I'm not going to keep talking to you, talking about I miss you. I don't know how. We've never met. More, if you miss me, why aren't you in front of me? Like, what's the issue here? Why aren't you making a move? Lock it in, buddy. Are you short? Do you smell? Are you poor? You can't afford a date? We can go to a fucking park. Like, are you married? What is the issue? Because now you acting sus. And I lose interest on suspect people. Like, what? Lock it in!
Let's get ready for a date. Cheers! Usually I need a drink before a date because I'm like nervous, but I'm actually not nervous at all. I've been single because no one is worth my time. I've been on dates, but nobody's made me like I'm having fun. I just feel like I've really come into my own these last 2 years. That I've been by myself, not having a man bothering me. Every time I have a date, literally feel like I need the whole entire afternoon to get ready. No, I need to start getting ready 5 hours before. I will say though, like once you've been single like I have, you get to a point where it's just like, I'm not going to settle for anything. That's why when I go on these dates, I'm just like you will be voted off the island after one date. You are given one shot. I've tried to do the thing where I'm like, oh, maybe the first date didn't go that well, but like I should still give them the benefit. No, don't do that because you're gonna waste your own time.
A few moments later.
I'm not sure why nobody wants to speak up about this, but I guess I'll be the one to do it. There is a serious shortage of attractive, eligible, mentally stable, emotionally available men. We need to get a search party together, figure out what has happened, where have they gone, and what do we do about this? Because it's a problem.
I'm married for 17 years, together 21. I'm a father of 2, 11-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy here in North Carolina. My daughter's being raised to maintain her value. My son's being raised to be strong, find his value, be the prize. Where do you guys think the world of dating is leading for my kid? I guess went back to more of the traditional. Do you see it kind of progressing on toward more masculine women, feminine men?
The reason why I don't see us going back to traditional values is because being traditional is hard, and human beings in general don't like doing hard things. If you tell women that they can go ahead and be promiscuous, chase a career, make money, and then have a shining knight in armor waiting for them at the end of their, carousel riding, most women are going to go with that narrative versus you need to preserve yourself. You want to pursue an education, that's fine, but that comes second to family. It's easier to just be a 304 and live your life and YOLO.
To be honest, I'd rather just be a little lonelier than deal with all the hassle of dating. I'm really not in a place emotionally and financially where I can deal with sorting through a bunch of misses to find a missus. Nowadays, with dating apps, there's always something new and more exciting just around the corner. So many women I've dated have abruptly broken things off because they found something more exciting. Dating is like taking on a part-time job. I don't have the time or the energy. I'm sure all of you can relate to that. Social media, Hollywood, and porn have really altered the expectations of the general public across the board when looking for a mate. It's actually really messed up psychologically when a person thinks about it. Specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who conveniently hold themselves to extremely low standards but feel entitled to the best. More specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who act like victims when they're confronted with equally high expectations.
If you never get approached by men in public or at a party or even on social media, this may be actually because you are much more attractive than you thought you were. Did you know that we are much more reluctant to approach other women that are incredibly beautiful? Rather, we play it safe and we talk to people that are usually on our level. That way, the rejection most likely won't happen with someone that is just average to them. There are so many gorgeous women in public that simply never get the time of day from men. That is because if they get rejected by someone that is beautiful, that will hit them in a spot that is just unbearable. So instead of feeling down about the fact that you don't really get talked to at a party setting, or you rarely get attention from men on your Instagram stories, etc., it probably is that they are afraid to even talk to you because you radiate so much beautiful energy. So if you want to get any sort of attention, you may have to be the one to reach out to them first because you're simply too beautiful. I'm sorry.
And a lot of females wonder why dudes don't try to holler at them anymore. It's not because you're ugly or anything like that. It's just that shit has become so difficult. Back in the day, the worst thing we had to worry about was getting rejected. Nowadays, we got to worry about getting screenshot, called thirsty, and the worst of them all, getting a video of us getting rejected, put on the internet. The funny thing about the females who like to screenshot and call you thirsty is when the screenshot is coming from a text message conversation that y'all had. How thirsty can I possibly be if I already have your number? Y'all never fail to mention that he's thirsty, but y'all always fail to mention how he got your number.
That's too true. I just want to talk about this. Ain't no way I'm as hot as that girl, but when I was like just 19 and when I went to the club, everybody and everyone's mom was touching me. It was so gross. I literally walk away and there'd be like, what? There'd be men that'd be like, why the fuck are you walking away from me? But this year and last year when I went to the club, no matter how hot I looked, no matter how much I showed, no matter how much skin-tight clothes I was wearing, no matter how much makeup I was wearing, no man was hitting on me. Not that I want men to hit on me, but no one was hitting on me at all. Like, it was crazy. And like, I just wonder what changed. Like, genuinely, I wonder what changed.
2/3 of all student debt is held by women in the United States. Black women hold the most student debt out of any racial or ethnic group in the United States. Childcare is so expensive that it is outpacing women-dominated fields like education and nursing. Women who hold higher degrees, higher education, can no longer afford to work because of the cost of childcare. So they're going even more into debt with their significant student loans and then their inability to work. Women are also in poverty more than men. We also don't get any paid parental leave. So women have to decide between bonding with their child or losing their job. You can't convince me that they aren't trying to force us into pregnancy, force us to be uneducated, and make sure that we are in the home and reliant on men. Today I read a quote that said, "White women ignore the sexism to benefit from the racism." White women, it's time to get your head out of the sand to protect our future generation. It's time.
Women have thrown men under the bus so many times and ruined the lives of many good men that it's better to sacrifice intimacy and relationships for peace of mind, safety, and reputation. It's too late now. The game has been exposed and men are not playing.
As men fear being branded with derogatory labels like creep or predator. Amidst this landscape of uncertainty and apprehension, men who align with the principles of the MGTOW movement are carving out their own paths, prioritizing self-improvement and personal fulfillment over traditional relationships. This decision stems from a fundamental desire to safeguard their well-being and autonomy in a world that often feels hostile and unforgiving.
And that concludes today's discussion on MGTOW Voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.